We have seen that anything that is physical, tangible, let's say your currency, your ornaments, your, paper files, we think that's the only valuable asset. But data, though it is not physical, it's all virtual, sitting in your computer. It can be manipulated. It can be used for various crimes if somebody gets unauthorized access, right? So
Right.
information is very valuable, including, let's say, your business documents, your source code of the applications that you develop, because it has business logic. So with that background, organizations should at least know where my data is and how I'm securing it. Like, for example, I'm collecting my data. So am I collecting minimum data? Am I, taking the privacy consents, from the customers who are sending me that data?
Hello everyone, I'm Jitendra Singh, banker turned entrepreneur and author of the book Pep Hack Mastering the Art of Selling. I welcome you to read my story where I interview authors, speakers, coaches, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and more. Today I have with me Mr. Santosh Kamane. He is a seasoned cybersecurity leader, CISO data privacy officer, chief risk officer, and business opportunity professional with over 20 plus years of experience progressive experience in building information security programs. So he is well versed with designing and architecturing security solutions for enterprises, developing business continuity management, continuing technology audits, driving incident responses, crisis management, as well as data privacy campaigns. His passion is creating secure and resilient environment where information security is the business enabler and competitive differentiator. He is currently co-founder and CEO at CyberFIT Solutions, which is securing data and ensuring partner. Previously, he has led information security programs for DBS Bank, Backintheblack Inc, and several other banking entities in India and US. So today he will be discussing with us about his life journey. So let us hear from him. Welcome, Santosh sir. Platform is open, and now over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jitendra. I think that was wonderful introduction, and I'm really happy to share my views, thoughts. So let's get started. Thank you.
So that's really wonderful that we would be talking about so many things about you and cybersecurity. So looking forward to it. So first thing I'd like to know from you is how did your past life has affected the person you wanted to be in your life and what you are?
That's very interesting question because talking about the past life and my experiences. I come from that early 2000 that generation era. So back then, I think nobody imagined that technology will take a center stage in your lives, because we are part of the generation when everything was manual, and then suddenly in last 15-20 years you see everything is being digitized, right? So that's a big transformational change. And what probably I planned years ago from a career standpoint, none of that really worked out, because things changed, industry changed, the topics that I was following, studying, none of that stands relevant today. But the good part was, I kept following my passion. I was open to, new changes, new subjects, and that's how I landed into cyber security.
Right. That's really wonderful. Because you rightly pointed out, when we were growing, like late 70s and 80 kids. So this thing was never been there. So technology is really not there. And the things which were prominent were engineering and medical.
Correct.
So those things were only prominent, and everybody is asking for these things. So being in defense background, so whatever career options I was getting from other people was related to the defense jobs and DA and
Right.
CDS. So right. So if I talk about things you are passionate about in your life, so what are those things?
I'm definitely passionate about experimenting. I'm very open to explore newer sides that I have, and that's what I have been doing all my life. Even within cybersecurity, I kept taking on very uncomfortable assignments, very uncomfortable projects, just to test out my own merit, my own standing, And that was the reason also, I moved recently from, corporate 9 to 5 job into this new venture, just to see, how I can do better in this new role. If there is anything I can contribute, explore, given the experience that I have gained over the years. So I'm really passionate about exploring new things per se, very comfortable doing. Yeah.
So many things to work around actually.
Correct.
Right.
True.
So now I'd like to know about more on your work and experiences, how you started your career, what all you did, and now what you are doing in your current company.
Yeah, so it's been a long journey. It's been more than 20 years. So around 2000, 2001, that's when I started working. I mean, after my engineering, I started working with Wipro. I mean, that was my first opportunity working into cybersecurity space as a cybersecurity professional. And back then, this was very new area because IT was new, and IT support, technology, system administration, network management, those were quite settled areas. But information security as a new, let's say, profession, new unit, that was still not acceptable practice, right? Because nobody knew about firewalls, nobody knew importance of antivirus, or why does even organization needs all of this. So started journey around that time. Then as I moved to different service industries, my role kept expanding from cybersecurity professional to pen tester to internal audit, auditing the IT controls with the banks, financial institutions, manufacturing, and other industries. And then I spent about 12, 14 years in US, very focused job around data center security, cloud security, building security programs again for financial industry. And that kept going. And then very recently I was with DBS Bank, Hyderabad, leading their cybersecurity practice, risk management, business continuity. Just so the good part is, the role has been expanding. It has, offered new set of challenges. So I always feel that, I'm a student learning. So, I always go back to basics and see, how I can start. Yeah.
Right. And IT being an industry segment where you have to be continuously learning throughout.
Continuously learning. And then the good part of industry is that, there is no hierarchy per se, right? I mean, it's very possible that somebody who is, let's say, 2 years experienced or even a fresher, he would probably have, better ideas, maybe, newer, fresh ideas that you may want to, learn or adopt. So that's one part I like, about this industry. It's very open, flat hierarchy where, you can approach, and there is no, age-wise seniority per se. Yeah.
Right. That's really wonderful. So now if I talk about your vision, mission and goal in life for next 5 to 10 years from now, what do you think that should be?
Well, like what I have been doing right now, the idea was that, over the years, I have seen number of risks that organizations have faced. And through these different roles, the idea was always to see, how do you bring down those risk levels for the organizations, right? Whether you implement solutions, whether you, educate the employees, deploy cybersecurity products, processes. So right now we are focusing on secure data erasure because I feel that is a big risk. And even in the future, that would be my interest where, anything relevant, risk where it needs, good attention. I would look forward to develop solutions, products, services around that area.
Correct. So many things need actually to be done on this area because so many data thefts is happening these days.
Yes,
your personal computer, phone is not safe even. You are using so many apps and they are taking data from you.
Right. And unfortunately, the awareness of data, importance of data, it's still not there, especially in our geography.
Correct.
The reason being, we have, very strong privacy or, InfoSec regulations per se for individuals, right? So I have so much data in my phone, in my, tablet, laptop, desktop. But as an individual, a lot of people struggle to find out even what data is sensitive, how do I protect, do I share, with whom I share. So that's always the challenge. Yeah.
That's really true. So now if I talk about your personal and professional journey both, so what are the most important life lessons you have learned from both the journeys actually?
The lessons learned is that there is always a learning path, and you cannot just be happy with what you have achieved. I mean, your achievements probably, kind of set a stage for your next step. But it's always about, how do you look forward? How do you start fresh, every new day? And how do you collaborate with people, from different backgrounds? Because over the years, I have learned that, I may be in cybersecurity profession, but when I talk to, let's say, different people, like you as a banker, or, somebody from HR industry, somebody from legal industry,
Right.
then I get different perspective on, how these processes needs to be secured, improved, modified, and their inputs are very, very valuable. So that lesson stays with me forever, learning from people all the time.
Right, really important because perspective from different people, different background, different job roles is different, and
Correct.
the requirement of data privacy at each level is really different. So we need
Yes.
to understand that is equally important because as an HR,
Correct.
the thing which they want to keep secure would be the database of the employees and the future employees, what they are targeting.
Exactly.
And for an
Exactly.
salespeople, data would be their customer base and whatever they are selling or whatever they have sold. So different things at different stages needs to be taken care of. Really important.
Yes, yes, yes. Because information security is everybody's job, and you
Right.
rightly said. I think that was very important statement that you made. Right? Everybody like HR, sales, IT, admin. Everybody have their own, processes, data to be secured. Right?
Correct. Any learning from personal journey?
Learning from the personal journey has been that people do support you, your family, your friends, your
Definitely.
colleagues, your journey. It's just that you need to be open. You need to reach out to people. You should always ask for help. I think that is one thing probably I did not do well at the beginning of my career. But now I feel the more you connect with people, the more you collaborate, more you take their perspective, knowledge, learnings. It just builds a strong chain because there is no individual who wants to succeed, right? It's just all of us helping each other grow.
True.
That's the ultimate journey, right?
True. That was times when people used to think if I share my knowledge, my
Correct.
worth would be like lesser as compared to now. Like now, people are getting open, sharing whatever they're
Right.
learning, as well as learning whatever other people could share. So that is
Right.
the
And
best way to collaborate and
correct.
exchange ideas.
Correct, correct. And thanks to internet, this whole era, information is now easily available. I mean,
True.
probably there is so much information that, you can hardly absorb, 1% of it, right? So information is available, but then I think what matters is, how do you take the meaningful information from the people, from the systems, and then, work collectively.
Right. And all thanks to the technical people like IT
Correct.
team working all around the world. So it's all because of
Right.
them. Things are really easy for all of us. But there are few people on the other side as well. So we need to be safeguarding ourselves, our businesses from them as well.
Correct. That is true.
Right. So now moving on to the important aspect, which I was curious to ask you, like as a common person or a small business owner, what are some practical steps or measures they can take to enhance their security of their personal information and protect themselves against any kind of cyber threats? Because corporates, they can adopt all these measures things, but as an individual and as a small business, it's really difficult to adopt or spend on these things.
Right. Number one, I think it is very important for everybody, including these small businesses and founders, that information is valuable. Number one, right? Because traditionally, we have seen that anything that is physical, tangible, let's say your currency, your ornaments, your paper files, we think that's the only valuable asset. But data, though it is not physical, it's all virtual, sitting in your computer. It can be manipulated. It can be used for various crimes if somebody gets unauthorized access, right? So
Right.
information is very valuable, including, let's say, your business documents, your source code of the applications that you develop, because it has business logic. So with that background, organizations should at least know where my data is and how I'm securing it. Like, for example, I'm collecting my data. So am I collecting minimum data? Am I, taking the privacy consents, from the customers who are sending me that data? If I'm storing data, am I encrypted? Otherwise, am I, encrypting that data? Otherwise, somebody else is going to access that data and read it, right?
Right.
If I'm transferring data, am I sharing with the right party? If I'm disposing data, am I, deleting it the right way? So all these basic questions in your day-to-day mind, if you start asking, because at the end of the day, if you do not protect your data, you are going to lose your brand, you are going to lose your reputation, you are going to lose your consumer trust, and it will affect your business big time. So there is no exception to this, right? And that's how, even governments are now mandating that security practices should be in place.
Correct. That's really important because until unless you safeguard yourself, so there are threats available in market. So on to this further, how can businesses effectively educate and train their employees on cybersecurity best practices to minimize the risk of human errors and ensure a strong security posture?
Sure. Over the years, every time, I read those traditional security books, they said, employees or your staff, they are your weakest link, right, in the security. But I never agreed to that statement because I always felt, your employees are your strongest link asset. It's just matter of, educating them in the right way. And they should know how to report security incidents, because your employees, when they find something suspicious, something malicious, they can report it. Now, educating employee, it's a process in itself. Right from the induction, when you onboard employees, you cannot just hand over, let's say 10-page PDF and ask them to read the policies, right? You have to make it very relevant, meaningful, a focus session, so they know it. And these sessions have to be very regular, periodic throughout their journey. Then every time, they are associated with any business process, be it with customer, be it with, any technical process, business process, clearly document, what is expected, what is not expected from a information security perspective, what is organization's tolerance, right? What is organization's goal, right, in protecting data. And most important is, the management board, doesn't matter what size company is, they have to be actively engaged, because security is effective only when it is enforced top to bottom. So when your management is the way, when they enforce the right policies, when they educate the staff, that's when, you start seeing the effects, and this is all in addition to, giving the relevant training. Like sometimes if you have technical developers, they need to know importance of secure programming. If it is like you said, sales, HR, they need to know how to, secure those business processes. So there have to be, very personalized trainings for those specific personas.
Correct. You rightly pointed out in corporates it is happening, but not happening the way you explained. The thing which is happening is I've been a banker, I've seen this. So every 1 year we were getting PPTs. We need to go through them and then we need to give a test. So that is not the right way actually. But when it comes to yes.
Correct. And interestingly, you mentioned about this scenario. Companies are probably educating their staff in some way, right? At least the beginning you can witness. But then, when it comes to individual awareness, the banking customers, those senior citizens, those, at home, now, they usually fall victim of all these OTP scams, phishing scams, clicking on various links, opening, these documents. But then how do they educate their customers, right? Once in a while, sending out SMS is not going to help.
Correct.
They have to organize similar programs for their customers also, when they onboard a new customer. If I'm signing up and opening up a bank account, why not have, 5-minute induction that I go through, do's and don'ts of protecting my finances, with the bank. So this awareness is a kind of, bigger issue that needs to be addressed.
Correct. This could be a better idea because when you engage with your customer for all the sales related things, you can at least spend 5-10 minutes explaining them how they can use safe banking, or maybe not only banking but everywhere, whatever services you are offering. So these days we are getting cars, having everything digitalized. So there also security may be a great concern. And when it comes to a
Exactly.
smaller business, there is a problem that there are people who are working on smaller roles. They don't even understand basic glitches of technology or problems technology may have. So they are like prime victims of these frauds or these kind of threats. So smaller organization is a place where the threats are more as compared to corporates. So there also they need to understand that this is a really important space, and they can organize training within the organization. They can invite external people also who are expert in this domain, so that they can train within 1 or 2 hour time span. They can explain at least basic things, how to safeguard or make precautions while using technology.
Right. And then, fortunately, if you see Indian government especially, they have been very active, in terms of, bringing this awareness on a large scale. Like for banks, they had rolled out this Cyber Jagrukta Divas, where,
Right.
the awareness has to be, regular. Then the privacy bill is being, rolled out soon. So every businesses, who collect the personal data, they will have to follow certain norms. They will be subjected to certain audits and validations. So this will definitely in coming times you will notice that transformation where security will mature to a great extent.
Right, right. Some of the issues we have spoken right now, but for others, like what from your experiences, what are some other vulnerabilities or weak points or areas that businesses often overlook in their information security programs, and what steps they can take to address them effectively?
Yeah, I mean there are a number of such vulnerabilities, but then talking about maybe two, three top. See, normally you see that the management themselves are not very highly involved in driving these programs. Because if you expect your operational staff, your middle management or lower employees
Right.
to drive this within the organization, it's never going to happen, right? Because it's about building security mindset, security culture, right? So it's very important that the manager is equally involved. The second part is that in most of the board meetings, I've noticed that the information security leads, professionals or CISOs, they are not part of that committee or invited to these board meetings to present that data. So very important that the board of directors, they regularly review the cybersecurity posture. They should be aware of what are my organizational risks. They should approve or reject the security measures. They should be held accountable. The third part is that a lot of times there is no clarity around roles and responsibilities. Let's say HR is doing something, or sales guy doing something, and there is a risk in that area, right? Risk of data theft or some other risk. Now, who is accountable for managing that risk, right? So these accountabilities are not clearly defined.
Correct.
Everybody thinks it is the information security guy, and this poor guy has no clue about these business processes, so he's
Right.
blind to all these areas. So building this security culture goes long way. I mean, it's just a phased approach. Needs to be tackled. Very systematically.
And people in organizations see that the roles and responsibility of safeguarding the interest of the company from cyber attacks or maybe threats or whatever is only with the IT guys. They don't have any role
Correct.
and responsibility here.
Right. And typically IT and business, let's say technology and business, in most organizations, they don't talk very often.
Correct.
So technology folks, they have no clue about, what business is doing. Businesses, they don't understand the implications of technology. There is always the challenge. And when you don't understand your other party, where you are supposed to provide solutions to, then obviously, the outcome won't be very, effective.
Right. So, in like today's interconnected world, where data breaches and cyber attacks are becoming more frequent, what are the key considerations and or factors that businesses or people as an individual should keep in mind when selecting and implementing cybersecurity solutions?
Right. I always feel, the technology teams along with business teams, they should always, let's say, frequently conduct the risk assessment exercise. You should
Right.
always know what are potential threats and what risk those threats can lead to. Then you know what you need to focus on while building your security
Correct.
program. And the other thing, I mean, these days, there is always this new jargon and, new terms when it comes to information security, right? Zero trust and, shift left and, all these kind of new terms. Sometimes, they are quite confusing. So you should always see, what is relevant to you, what are my risks, and before, deploying any solution, see what I'm addressing, right? And always build a multi-layer defense that even if your first layer fails, let's say your firewall does not protect you, you still have endpoint protection that protects your devices from viruses or ransomwares. So always have multi-layer defense. When one area fails, there is next set of area that takes over. Yeah.
Right. That is really important. Like, you should be well versed. First thing is, organization should be well versed with the pros and cons of the threats and data breaches, whatever can happen. And second most important thing is, the department should collaborate and work together, which is really important. They should have basic understanding of each other's role, so that IT team can work effectively in terms of creating a solution. And also the business team or HR, admin or other departments, they can also have basic understanding about the risk threats may arise if something bad goes. So that is really important. Now coming back to you again, if I ask you, who all supported you in your journey the most throughout?
Well, I would say everybody that I have associated with, but especially, obviously, like everybody, it's your family, parents, your kids, your friends, your closed, circle of, acquaintances. So they obviously are your well-wishers, right, in your journey. So I make a point that I always, every time I create something, every time I run into any issues, I try to take, views or feedback from my kids also.
Right.
So that they feel that they are also participating in my journey, and then it becomes, fruitful exchange, So it's everybody that I have associated with, it's just one step at a time. Yeah.
So engaging family in your decision making really helps. So they also feel part of the same.
Right. Otherwise, alone you will be burdened with, there is so much stress and so many things that occupy you. So you need somebody that you trust, somebody you are comfortable with, and it just becomes a good relationship, right? That further strengthens that bond.
Correct. This is a good idea to actually follow in life. So if I talk about how you get your motivation and inspiration in your life.
Motivation has been always, really trying to do better than what I did yesterday, right? Because there is no competition, there is no, let's say, specific goal to achieve. It's just doing better every day. See, if you at your own pace, with your own, limitations, with your own strengths, see if you can do better, and then this steady growth continues. Because I'm not trying to, achieve anything, huge, in a short span of time.
Right.
Just trying to see if, I could contribute somewhere, so the end of the day, I feel, it was a, productive, fruitful day.
Correct. Rightly pointed out. So now if I ask you about your take on success, what do you think, how it looks like to you?
I mean, definitely, I feel success should not be measured with materialistic, elements. That just does not really define the person, his material possessions or his titles in the organization. It's more about, how content you feel. It could be as simple as, when you meet your friends, when you meet your colleagues. If there is that feeling of, a good connection, good collaboration, when you feel that, you have good synergy, I think that's success, right? Then that automatically happiness. Yeah.
Correct. That leads to happiness, actually.
Correct.
So we are on last one. Any message or advice you would like to share with our viewers and listeners?
So I would say, take life easy. I mean, especially for the young guys, there is so much transformation in the technology, right? So we feel burdened, suddenly there is, let's say, artificial intelligence, chat GPT, and we feel that, there is so much happening. So can I, really cope up with so much development, right? Will my future be, positive? So And then in today's world, it's very easy to get distracted with whatever happening around. So important, be patient, be focused, define your limited goals, break those goals into smaller steps, one step at a time. Journey continues, and then it becomes very very easy. And the second part is keep reading. I think reading books brings different perspective. Talking to people brings different perspective. So that's really a key element for growth in life.
True. Really important when you learn from books or maybe from people. That is a really a different perspective what you learn from within yourself. So you add on new ways to explore things that is really needed at any point in time. That makes you wiser actually. So I must say the discussion we had was really amazing, and you have spoken about yourself. You have shared your journey with us. That was really wonderful. And most importantly, you talked about cybersecurity, which is the concern of everybody these days. And really important for everybody is to understand what cybersecurity is, why it is important for them, how they can keep their data or their information safe, and also how to implement like a small change in business strategy and business areas, maybe small businesses or the larger ones, corporates. So these things can help them really safeguard not only the information, not only the safeguard themselves from the external threat, but that can also be used to connect better with the internal teams so that they can understand the roles, responsibility of each other and create solution on the basis of that, so that external customers may get benefited and the offerings which they have could be beneficial to them and safeguard their interest too. So that is really wonderful in this current technology times or IT times we say. So thank you so very much, Santoshji. It was wonderful having you here, and I'm looking forward to talk more on cybersecurity and technology things in coming sessions. Looking forward to them. So thank you so very much once again.
Thank you so much. This was very, interactive conversation. A lot to learn from you, and especially, your initiative, this Read My Story, that is so inspiring. I think, taking perspectives from the different, individuals. So all the best, and you have been doing great job. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And I will also share your social media links along with the interview so that people can be in touch with you, take your help and guidance wherever they feel like. And businesses, like as you being a consultant for businesses, so small businesses can also come to you and seek your help and guidance in terms of making their systems robust. Guys, don't forget to check that out too. Thank you so very much, everyone, for watching and listening. I hope you all must have gathered a lot of information and enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good time. Thank you, and bye bye.